Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming, and I'm very pleased to announce that we will have a double feature today, and I will be talking about the history of the Clinton Community Library, and Mr. Marshall will be talking about the very interesting how the Schultzville Masonic Hall was moved to the Town Hall site. So let's get started. Here we go. My name is Horace Culp, and I was born in 1902, and I died here in Schultzville in 1992. For many years, my wife Marie and I owned a farm right here in Schultzville on Center Road. In 1952, I was elected town supervisor for the town of Clinton, and I was re-elected continuously until 1965 when I retired. For those 14 years, I ran a pretty tight ship financially with the town budgets, and we had at that time the lowest lowest per capita tax of any town in Dutchess County, and I was pretty proud of that. Now, our town historian Craig Marshall was scheduled to give today's talk on the history of the Clinton Community Library. However, he has lived in Clinton only 50 years, and he's a relative newcomer. So he thought that I would be a better choice to give this talk because I was very, very involved in the formation of the Clinton Library. So I'm glad to do that, by the way. In 1965, February, residents formed the Clinton Community Library Reading Center. And it was had the officers, proposed a set of officers, a board of directors, and they even established some bylaws. The mission was to maintain a free reading center for our residents of the town of Clinton, to promote an interest in reading, and to provide such other programs as deemed necessary. Under my leadership as town supervisor, the town board voted to appropriate $1,000 to fund the Reading Center each year through the Mid-Hudson Library Association, which donated 2,000 volumes for the startup of the library. As requested by the Reading Center group, the town hall balcony would be used for the Reading Center. I personally built the shelving for the many books that came from the Mid-Hudson Library and the private donations. On April 2nd, 1965, the free library opened. It was not an official chartered library, which would have required a full-time and paid and trained librarian, which we didn't have. The staff consisted of 25 part-time volunteers who were trained in library operations by the Mid-Hudson Library Association. Shown here, I was honored to receive library card number 1 for my work and support to the library project. Now, the access to the Loft Reading Center really was not very welcoming. Kids and adults had to walk through a closet to reach the narrow stairs to the balcony. They could then pick any books that they wanted. Ruth and Daisy would give the out prizes to the kids for the number of books they read. I missed something. The history of CCL Library really began in 1965 when Daisy Kershaw and Ruth Green, both Clinton residents, proposed to the Clinton Town Board that a library be established in our town hall. Prior to this, residents had to go to libraries in other towns to check out books for themselves and their kids. So, very important point. So Daisy and Ruth were very instrumental in getting the library started. By the way, I spoke with Daisy this week, and I invited her to come. Unfortunately, she's not feeling very well, but she sends regards to all of you, and she still remembers very fondly how she and Ruth participated. She was the program's chair on the first part of the Library Association, so she was very active. Kids and adults, from the beginning, the children's programs included Story Hour every Saturday, and on summer programs shown outdoors here, It included reading and presentations on Clinton history, puppet shows, and sculpture demonstrations. Kids also collected flowers and ferns to be pressed into a scrapbook, as shown here with a boy holding a fern. The center also offered framed art on a 4-month loan. In the first year, the Reading Center was a success with 170 members and an average monthly circulation of 400 books. A pretty good start. The following year, there were 86 junior members alone. Notably, 106 phonograph records were also circulated. Getting back to the balcony, from 1965 through 1973, the town population doubled to 3,000, and with increasing circulation and added books to the shelves, the floor to the Reading Center loft actually began to sag, as did the bookshelves, and it prompted some safety concerns. So in December 1973, a group of residents formed a committee to replace the Reading Center and raise funds to build a standalone library structure next to the town hall with an adjoining connecting passageway. However, the town board, needing additional office space, proposed an alternative. The town would build a basement, 4-wing added to the town hall, and install a furnace, and then use that basement space for offices. The library would inhabit the floor above, which is on the same level here as the town hall meeting room. Key point, the library portion would be financed entirely by donations with no support from taxes. To finance a new building was a major change, with an estimate of $35,000, this is back in 1965, for the library portion alone. Many fundraisers were held in the community, and for 5 years, I personally made custom picture frames from discarded barn timbers and sold them to help the fundraising. And for 3 years, my good friend Putnam Davis and I visited every home in Clinton, securing enough 3-year pledges to pay for the library share of the proposed building addition. Putnam was a county representative and very active in the community. After his passing, his wife Betty Davis funded our town court, which is named in his honor. When $12,000 in pledges from donors and fundraisers was obtained in April 1974, the decision was made to begin the project and have a groundbreaking. Congressman Hamilton Fish Jr. was on hand to dig the first shovelful, and that's me in the background. And Putnam also earned the right to join the groundbreaking. There were several kinds of fundraisers, and here's an interesting one. For second prize, the person got a whole carton of toilet tissue. It's Clinton. To reduce the cost, many services were donated, resulting in a total cash expense of only $19,000, a very significant savings. Finally, in May 1976, fundraising continued and residents could see progress in the building being erected. Finally, in May of 1976, the dedication was held with Handfish returning for the celebration. The new library still did not meet the standards for an official chartered library, and technically it continued to be the Clinton Community Library Reading Center. However, Clinton was extremely fortunate to attract a professional librarian in the person of Mary Lou Giannini, who came on board just prior to the new library building. She had excellent references, including assistant director of the New York Public Library in New York City. Pretty impressive. And she was very enthusiastic about the new library building that would be coming the next year. I don't know if you can read this, but 8 years later, in 1984, the center included in its lending services 16 millimeter films, a coupon exchange, a Dungeons and Dragons club, loans of framed art prints, loan of a Polaroid instant camera, and a sewing pattern exchange. Pretty creative. Members could check out videos rather than go to Blockbuster. Family films were also part of the summer program. These programs became so varied that at one point, library director Catherine Mostello featured live llamas inside the library. In 2004, meeting all requirements, status as an official chartered library was finally achieved with a new name, Clinton Community Library. It was, in fact, the last of 66 institutions in Dutchess County, 66 institutions in Mid-Hudson Library System, which served 5 counties, to upgrade from the lowest level. It was now eligible for more state funding and other services. It also enabled the library to request Town of Clinton taxpayers to approve the library budget for any given year. However, financial support continued to be from the town budget, which became a limiting factor in delivering new services that were desired by the board. In 2017, with strong community support, a resolution was passed that enabled the library to raise its own annual funding beginning in 2018. With a large and varied offering of services and events to Clinton residents of all ages, a highlight was achieved in 2018 when the library was awarded the coveted Joseph F. Schubert Library Excellence Award from the New York State Library Regents. It was the only library in New York State to receive this award in 2018. Pretty impressive. Programs continued to be added, including the very popular summer concert shown here on the steps of the town hall. And today's Lunch and Learn is another example of what brings us together by our library. Members are kept informed by the online of various services and events. On the online, check out what's happening at the CCL. It is now way beyond book loans. Clinton Community Library continues to be a great asset to the town and a facility of which all our residents can justly be proud. I sometimes continue to think what our community might be like without a library. Very scary thought. On November 8th, Election Day, the library is on the ballot to increase its annual budget from $115,000 to $149,800. This is an important step to meet the increased costs and provide special services and events. The library board hopes voters will continue to support our library. That is the result from countless volunteer hours and donations by our residents since 1965. The chart shows that Clinton has the lowest per capita cost in libraries of similar areas of similar population. In closing, I want to thank the library staff and the many volunteers of the Board of Trustees and the Friends Group who, with their dedication, continue to make our town library available for all ages for learning, social interaction, and just having fun. Here are some of the staff and volunteers who make it a welcoming place. If you are not on the email distribution list, you're missing a lot. Looking back, I especially appreciate all the residents and friends who supported the library over the past 57 years and made it the town treasure that we have today. We in Clinton, working together, achieved great things, and the Clinton Community Library is a perfect example of that. Thank you for your kind attention. Please stand by for a moment as Mr. Marshall will present the second talk. He'll be here in a second.